So when you are looking at specific journals and you've made a short list of your journals, consider first of all to look at the aims and scope of a journal. That's what all of the journals do have on their online websites, to look if it fits in that specific aim or scope. Second of all, many journals write what the audience that reads their manuscripts, that reads the journal, is. And if you feel that your paper fits into that specific audience, please ensure that you take that specific audience and that you take that journal that caters to that audience. Second of all, when you look not only at the scope and the audience, you need to look also at the types of paper. If you have a short communication, so preliminary data, it might not be accepted in a journal that only accepts regular papers and review articles. If this is the case, then you should ensure that you find a journal that accepts the type of papers that you need at that specific time. This is especially true when we're looking at the review articles. There are some journals still in this day and age that only accept review articles. They are meant as an overview of the specific topics that we are working with. So, the article type means that if you have experimental reports or applied research, methods journals, review journals, then letters or short communications, and cutting edge new innovations that have not been published and need to be out quickly, you will consider different journals that will have these different options, especially if you cater to a broader audience or an audience from two very different disciplines that are interconnected in your research. You should consider cross-disciplinary article types and cross-disciplinary journals that publish such. The next part is examine your paper's applicability. Especially when you are trying to make a name for yourself in the scientific community, you should be thinking, do I need to do it globally? Do I need to do it regionally? Do I need to do it nationally? So these different steps should be also considered when deciding what paper, where the paper needs to be published. Um, when we look at the timing, there are some journals that will publish faster than others. This might be also displayed on their websites. You will see sometimes on the websites metrics as from journal to first decision, from journal submission to first decision, or from submission to publication. And this is important, especially if you need to publish quickly. So sometimes the timing will also matter for you, and you should decide on a journal that has a short timing if you need to complete your PhD, get a job, get a promotion, get a grant, or publish results before another group. Um, this is a display of how sometimes you will have the depiction of how much turnaround time is there. And this might be in specific weeks, it might be in days, sometimes it might be in months. Although months in the day and age of the internet are rather rare to this time. So the turnaround time is in many cases dependent also on the factor of knowing if the journal publishes only in volumes, if it publishes as a pre-proof, if it publishes standalone also internet articles. That will then help you determine if the turnaround time is shorter or longer. In journals that publish also online only, you will have usually a shorter turnaround time. Sometimes there will be the question also about fees and charges. Many times, scientific projects will have budgets allocated towards fees and charges for publication. But if you have to do it from an institutional fund, or even that you don't have any fund at all, it might be quite difficult, and you will need to look at the open access opportunities or hybrid opportunities that cost less for publication. So the fees and charges might be sometimes depicted as page charges. So how many pages when you put it in a formatted form you will have, or color charges if you have any images or displays, or author fees in terms of open access. Sometimes these page charges and color charges bring in a higher amount than if you have the offer fees itself. So if money is a problem, consider first of all, do you have institutional funding? If you don't have institutional funding, ask if fees can be reduced or waived. So here's an example of seeing how middle income countries automatically eligible for assistance in certain journals, or that the entire publication fee in some certain groups of countries might be covered and there will be no charge. But I would suggest, if you have such an issue, that you also write, just to have it in writing, that your fees will not be charged once you have the journal manuscript submission ready and prior to sending it off. Then the question becomes, if I want to publish, do I publish in open access only, in subscription, or hybrid open access? And here you can see that the cost factor is one of the factors, but as already discussed previously, the other factors of audience, of your impact factor, will play a significant role.